into the growing list of high-profile celebrities charged with misconduct.
That's free girl tape that just got sold on the dark net, which I know because I monitor. But for $500 million, it had multiple stars in it. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Chris Brown.
Can you speak about your concerns about the leak and the Diddy?
I did it in the court papers, and I'm just going to stick to the court papers.
It seems the streets are finally piecing together the mystery surrounding which celebrities attended Diddy's parties, and it looks like Rihanna might just be one of them. Fans are connecting the dots and suggesting that Rihanna's mentor Jay-Z may have allegedly introduced her to his close friend Diddy for some wild nights.
The innocent bank came over here, and look at it, 14 going on 16 years old, flown over without parental supervision in a private plane by a man who was supposed to be a producer who auditioned her at 3 a.m. in the morning in a hotel room. Auditioned at 3 a.m. in the morning. 14-year-old.
There's also been plenty of chatter about an alleged inappropriate relationship between Jay-Z and Rihanna in the past, but now it appears that whatever went down between them was more complicated than anyone realized. And remember that former publicist who spread rumors about Jay-Z and Rihanna? Well, they just dropped some shocking information claiming that there were investigations into Jay-Z for reportedly sending women to Diddy. So was Rihanna a victim in all this, or was she willingly joining in on the fun? Let's dive into the details and break it down now. I don't know if you're aware, but there have been some troubling reports over the years suggesting that jayz might have trapped Rihanna when she was just a teenager from Barbados. When you think about it, there are several red flags surrounding her journey to getting signed with Def Jam. For starters, she had to leave her home in Barbados to come to the US to perform for Jay-Z and La Ride. What's even more concerning is that she was only 16 years old at the time. You think a major label like The Jam, which was thriving back then, would have made sure a trusted adult accompanied her on this big move. But they didn't do that. When Rihanna arrived in the US, she was kept in Jay-Z's office until 3 o'clock a.m. Can you imagine? She was forced to sign a contract under some intense pressure, with Jay-Z even allegedly threatening to throw her out the window of his 29th floor office. Rihanna later recounted how nervous she was. She was literally shaking, but despite her anxiety when she first walked into the office, the atmosphere seemed warm and welcoming at first. As part of the process, she had to sing a cappella for him. I sang Ponda Replay and another ballad for my album. She recalled Jay-Z then told her, "We don't sing songs here, we sign artists." There was a moment of silence and she felt nervous, but then they told her they were interested in her, which brought a wave of relief. However, the tension didn't stop there. He made a chilling comment about how there were two ways to leave his office, either through the door with a signed deal or out the window. Considering they were 29 stories up, you can bet that at that moment she was like, "Where's the pen? Where's the paper? I'm signing. There are two ways to leave here. I through the door with the design or through this window." And we on the 29th floor. Now intimidating a 16-year-old in the middle of the night is definitely a bad look. No matter how you spin it, forcing someone to sign a contract under such threatening circumstances takes things to a whole other level of shady. It raises a lot of questions about what really went down during that pivotal moment in Rihanna's life. To make matters even more troubling, there are serious questions about whether Jay-Z even had the legal right to make Rihanna sign a contract at such a young age. Let's not forget that Rihanna was just 16. Typically, minors need a parent or guardian present to sign any legal documents, and she didn't even have a lawyer with her. This raises a huge concern. Did she unknowingly sign away her rights? If these new claims are accurate, that's exactly what might have happened. Jaguar Wright, one of the first to speak out, alleged that Jay-Z essentially smuggled Rihanna from Barbados, using his label as a front. She even claimed that Jay-Z paid Rihanna's father $500,000 when she arrived in the US. That situation sounds sketchy at best. This is a young girl who was discovered at 3 o'clock a.m. in a hotel room back in her home country, all without any parental supervision. Then she was put on a private plane flying from one country to another, again without a guardian present. She even talked about Rihanna's album cover, saying,
"That album cover was disturbing. A child bride with a crown in her head. Black man on her face. I don't know. How do people see SOS?
Now let's be real, if you had young children, would you just let your daughter jet off to a whole other country with someone you barely knew? Absolutely not. It's alarming to think about the circumstances surrounding how she was pulled into the music industry, especially at such a young age. This whole situation is absolutely wild. The $500,000 payout to Rihanna's father starts to make a lot more sense when you consider what Rihanna has said about her dad. She has been open about how he was aggressive towards both her and her mom, hurting them multiple times. Jaguar Wright didn't stop there. She also made some explosive claims about Jay-Z allegedly making Rihanna perform certain favors for men at events, according to Jaguar. This might have contributed to the tension between Rihanna and Chris Brown, especially during that infamous incident in 2009. It's said that Rihanna wasn't entirely innocent. Either report suggests she was in a compromising situation in a closet. When Chris walked in and confronted her saying, "You're always sucking something," he then stormed out of Clive Davis's house, getting into his expensive car. Rihanna reportedly chased after him in the car and starting a physical altercation because he embarrassed her by saying she gave him a disease in front of everyone. The drama didn't stop there. Rumors had also been swirling about an affair between Jay-Z and Rihanna even while he was in a relationship with Beyonce. Things took a turn when Rihanna's publicist stepped forward admitting he had been behind the scandalous rumors. He claimed he started the PR stunt out of desperation to help promote Rihanna's song Pond Repple. He described it as a reckless move, saying he was just throwing GTI at the wall to see what would stick. But as time went on and it became clear that people were profiting from the rumors about Rihanna, he felt sickened and ashamed of his involvement. He wanted to set the record straight once and for all. However, just a few weeks ago, this publicist changed his tune, denying he ever started the rumors and hinting that he'd been coerced into taking responsibility to avoid legal trouble. If that's not jaw-dropping enough, he revealed that federal authorities had interrogated him a few years back about Jay-Z allegedly using his record label to smuggle young women. In his statement, he said, "It's time for me to finally set the record straight. This is way beyond shocking, messy, and just flat out crazy. Prepared to be blown away by what I've been through over the years involving this historical scandal that needs to be put to bed for good. Heads are going to roll and people will be floored, but the truth needs to come out." He recounted a chilling encounter when unmarked law enforcement cars pulled him over and intimidating individuals introduced themselves as part of a federal task force. They requested to speak with him, leading him to a makeshift interrogation room. As he sat there, panic set in as he realized the gravity of the situation. The officers mentioned they had been keeping a close watch on Jay-Z ever since he was involved in an incident with Lance Rivera and pointed to Jay-Z's association with R. Kelly during their joint tour promoting their collaborative albums. The officers made it clear that they were investigating Jay-Z for allegedly engaging in inappropriate activities with young Rihanna and transporting her across international borders. They hinted that she wasn't the only one involved and that many others were potentially affected. This brutal interrogation served as a harsh wake-up call for him, and looking back now, there are certainly some alarming red flags surrounding Jay-Z's past, especially considering his close ties with R. Kelly. Much like Diddy, R. Kelly was the first in Jay-Z's circle to be exposed for engaging in some deeply disturbing behavior, and there's speculation that R. Kelly might end up snitching on Jay-Z. When R. Kelly was finally convicted, Jay-Z notably distanced himself despite having collaborated with him extensively in the past. Jay-Z even reportedly helped fund the surviving R. Kelly documentary, which seemed like an attempt to keep his own name out of the controversy, even though he had defended R. Kelly just months earlier. But Rihanna wasn't the only young woman tied to Jay-Z's name. Foxy Brown, another high-profile artist, had been vocal about her own troubling experiences. She claimed that Jay-Z manipulated her career and ultimately sabotaged her out of jealousy, especially as Beyonce's star began to rise. In a shocking revelation, Foxy alleged that Jay-Z gave her an intimate transmitted disease when she was just 15 years old, further tarnishing his reputation. Jay-Z was putting that harsh when she was 15, 16. She said, "A man got a horse. How would that little girl say?" She said Jay-Z got a horse. And then he would putting that harsh. And let's not forget about Jay-Z's relationship with Beyonce. There's been a lot of talk over the years about when they really started dating, and it's definitely raised some eyebrows. Beyonce has always been clear, saying they didn't officially start seeing each other until she was 18, but here's where things get a little murky. Jay-Z himself, during a 2007 interview with Charlie Rose, said he met Beyonce about 10 years earlier, which would put her around 16 at the time and him already well into his 30s now. You don't have to be a math genius to see why that timeline makes people question what was really going on. If Jay-Z met Beyonce when she was 16, was there more happening behind the scenes before they went public, especially considering that Beyonce had been in the music scene for a while, by then leading Destiny's Child and making a name for herself? It really makes you wonder how long their connection was developing before they officially started dating. And here's where things get a little uncomfortable. The similarities between Jay-Z and Beyonce's relationship and R. Kelly's relationship with Aaliyah are hard to ignore. R. Kelly also met Aaliyah when she was young, and we all know how that turned out. Marriage at 15, which was later aimed in years of manipulation behind the scenes. Some people can't help but compare these two situations, especially when you consider how often young women in the music industry get caught up in these kinds of questionable relationships. To add more fuel to the fire, Jaguar Wright, who's never been shy about speaking up, has thrown in her 2 cents, claiming that Beyonce might have gone through a similar experience with Jay-Z, as Cassie did with Diddy. Wright alleged that Beyonce was pressured into using illegal substances, which according to her gave Jay-Z more control in their relationship. This paints a picture of Beyonce not just as a partner, but as someone who might have been manipulated, with Jay-Z pulling the strings in ways people might not have seen on the surface, and the more drugs he pumps down his wife's throat to keep her no girl not my a beautiful Beyonce. And it's not just Jaguar Wright who's fueling these claims. There's a lot more smoke surrounding Jay-Z and Beyonce's relationship. Even Beyonce's former bodyguard Uncle Ron has been talking about this long before Diddy's lawsuits shook up the industry. According to Ron, Jay introduced Beyonce to various substances that led to a severe addiction, enabling him to manipulate and control her. Yeah, Beyonce's on drugs. She's been on them for a long time, and you keep her that way. Y'all wish it what you wish it to stay on top. But the allegations don't stop there. While Diddy is doing everything he can to clear his name, it seems like Jay-Z is working even harder to keep his own name out of the spotlight. And we can't ignore the whisper swirling around about his possible involvement in the deaths of some major figures in the industry. Right, think about it. There are claims that Jay-Z had some role in the deaths of Tupac, Aaliyah, Big E, Big L, and other names that haven't even surfaced yet. These are high-profile cases, but if you look closely, there's very little concrete evidence linking him to any of them. Why is that? Well, it's not hard to imagine that Jay-Z's long-standing connections and deep influence in the music industry might have helped keep any incriminating details under wraps. For those who don't know, Jay-Z had a deep affection for Aaliyah long before he ever got involved with Beyonce. He was reportedly head over heels for her and will to go to great lengths to keep her close, even if it meant putting her in risky situations to keep her from being claimed by anyone else. And let's be honest, it wasn't just about love. After everything R. Kelly put Aaliyah through, Jay-Z allegedly kept pursuing her. Despite knowing her complicated past with Kelly, he still tried to win her over, even though she was dating his friend Dame Dash at the time. Jay-Z reportedly sent her flowers, took her out, and tried to woo her. But Aaliyah wasn't having it. She made it clear that she wasn't interested. And that rejection hit Jay-Z hard. This rejection is rumored to have had a big impact on Jay-Z, driving him to sabotage Dame Dash's career out of spite. In an interview, Dame revealed how Jay-Z's jealousy over his relationship with Aaliyah started to create tension between them. Give certain support, but you don't need to start just saying that you know something that you don't know. You wasn't in that car. It's very ironic for Diddy to make that comment, especially considering how it turns out that he was far worse than Chris. But what do you think? Could there be more to the story, or was this just a light-hearted moment in response to a wild question? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. And while we wait for more updates, don't forget to like and subscribe for the latest on this unfolding Diddy saga. And thanks for watching my video.